when this guy took the stage, I know you told me, or you heard me yesterday say that, I'm not scared to laugh. As a matter of fact, I'm, completely immature. I'm responsible, but I'm immature, right? And maturity is like overrated, man. They're the most boring people I've ever seen. So they are. So I like to laugh. I'm not scared to cry. Why would I be? Who cares? It doesn't challenge my masculinity or my manhood. Because I can fight, so he can arm wrestle. Julie is a professional arm wrestler, 100%. And Lawrence, later we're going to play some bets. The house gets 50%. Okay. Yeah. They're all implants. Yeah. Okay. So this gentleman takes the stage, and going full circle, I'm tearing up afterwards, because I've been through a lot. You're gonna hear my story later, but I haven't been through this. But I've been through a lot, but I haven't been through this. And when you see tenacity, a vision, purpose, caring, sharing. This guy epitomizes that, so I'm going to do him justice by not just paraphrasing. So Mark Rodriguez, thriving after surviving and dominating the battles of our lives. Mark Rodriguez is a 2-time double lung transplant recipient. He's a survivor, but he will tell you that's not good enough. You must move forward in power and positivity after life interrupts you, puts you on the ground. That's every warrior spirit and mindset that brought him off 3 deathbeds, 2 transplants, and actually dying on the table his second go-around, to returning to his craft and career, the one that almost claimed his wife. Warriors always win because we always fight. We never quit. These are the words he lives by. He is now an author, speaker, transformational empowerment coach, traveling the country with a message of resilience, perseverance, and great faith. He will tell everyone your story only matters if you put it to work and keep moving forward. Don't stay stuck after trauma. That's not living. Put in the work. Don't be afraid, and never, ever, ever doubt yourself. Let's give him a round of applause.
All right. Everybody ready to have some fun? All right, everybody get up and dance. Never mind. It's too tight in here. What I do want you to do, though, put your hand on your heart. Everybody feel that? You know what that is? That's life. That's purpose. That's everything. I want you to do one more thing for me. I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath into your nose. Hold it a little bit, and then exhale through your mouth. And as you open your eyes, I want you to be grateful that you're able to do that easily, without struggle, without even thinking about it, really. You just did it. Because when you can't do that, it's one of the scariest things you'll ever experience in your life. My name is Mark Rodriguez. I'm known as the Lung Transplant Stonemason. I'm the CEO of the Warrior Life Academy. When I refer to being a warrior, I consider myself a very high-level warrior, not because I'm into the practice of patting myself on the back and dislocating my own shoulder, but because I've earned it. I've been to hell and back a couple times. I even volunteered myself to go one other time. But through God's grace and mercy, and only because of God's grace and mercy, am I standing right here before you today. So thank you, God. Yes. On this Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, that's church time. We're going to go to church a little bit, a couple minutes here. We're just going to take some time to thank God for what we have. Many times in life, we think about all the things we don't have. We think about the things that other people have, and we forget about the value and the things that we do have. So I want everyone to just be grateful for this moment, for your lives, but mostly I want you to be grateful for your toughest days. And there's a lot of reasons for that. They serve as a good way to check yourself. When you start having a bad day, you can say, hey, slow down. It's not even close to your worst day. You're going to be fine. And those are the days that truly build you at your core and your soul. The easy days don't build. Too many easy days in a row makes you soft. And lastly, God has got me through 100% of my worst days, which could have been my last day, but He made sure they weren't. And He's batting 100% there, and there's no better record than that. So let's give it up. Thank you, God. It's all here today for a reason. In 2010, I was diagnosed with silicosis fibrosis. That's a lung disease that I attained from doing stonework, but not operating in safety, but in ignorant machismo. But the silicosis fibrosis was not my downfall. My downfall was Superman disease. Anybody know what that one is? That's the one where we think we're invincible and nothing can hurt us. But the cure is quick. It's when a doctor walks into your hospital room, looks at you laying in your bed, and says, Mark, you're dying. Boom, you're cured. That quick. You realize Superman is just a cartoon character. He don't live on this earth. He ain't a real man. I'm a real man. And the choices I made affected not just me, but my family. When I chose myself over my children, over my family, I chose I over we. When I did not take care of myself and I did not choose wellness, I got illness. I traded that I for the we, and look what I ended up with. I thought I was tough. I got this. I got this. But there was many nights late at night where I'm trying to fall asleep saying, I don't got this. Why am I lying to myself? Why am I lying to everybody else? But I got there because I didn't place importance on self-care. We heard people talk about self-care yesterday. Nobody's going to come to your house and knock on your door and say, are you taking care of yourself? That is your responsibility. I didn't get that. See, I was as strong as a horse in my body. There wasn't a rock I couldn't move, there wasn't a rock I couldn't break, and there wasn't a rock that wouldn't do what I was telling it to do. But in my mind and my soul, I was not strong. The thing with that is God makes us up of three parts: the mind, the body, and the soul. And you have to strengthen each equally for a stronger whole. I did not have that. So when my body failed, I heard somebody talk about rock bottom yesterday. I hit rock bottom. Well, the bottom of the rock hit me. I wasn't at rock bottom. I was underneath the rock, and I had to figure out how to get from underneath the rock, get on top of the rock, and then I'm at rock bottom. See, many of us have this thought in our mind, I'm gonna make it to the top. I'm gonna get to the mountaintop. But a lot of us fail ourselves because we don't have a plan to get to the base of the mountain first. We all want to get to the top. What's your plan to get to the base first? Because you ain't getting there from here to there in one shot, unless you got a helicopter, and that's kind of cheating, right? I failed the plan, so my plans failed me. I thought, no, you know, I keep going like this, now I'm going to be living in the neighborhoods that I'm working in. I was real good, and I don't like to say that because I like to stay humble, but I was very gifted in the skill of stonemasonry. But in 2010, that all came to a grinding halt. Life interrupted hit me harder than any hammer I've ever struck my chisel with. And that's when it was time for me to embrace my warrior spirit and mindset. It was do or die. Never been a person who was scared of anything. I had 4 older brothers. They beat the crap out of me just for shits and giggles. And it made me tough, but it also made me not afraid of anybody. And I played college basketball. And at this size, you better be tough to play college basketball. That's where my neck problem started, because I was always like, hey, Friday night, what are we gonna do? Hey, you guys hungry? But I always viewed those guys as having the disadvantage, not me. You gotta come down here, man. You gotta come down to my level where I play this game at. I don't have to go up there, because I ain't bringing a ladder onto the court. So I used my lack of size as my advantage. And in life, we have to do that. We have to use what we have the best to our ability. If you're a fighter, then you fight. See, we're all warriors innately. It just takes different things to bring it out of us. For me, it took fighting for my life. Not just once, not just twice, 3 times. I guess that wasn't with a charm, right? But I was sick for a year, and then I got a phone call. They said, get to the airport, there's a jet waiting. I flew to Colorado, from Santa Fe, New Mexico to Denver. It took like 30 minutes. It was the best plane experience I ever had. Right through the skies, 40,000 feet. We landed, there was an ambulance waiting, and it said, Pride Mark Ambulance. I said, looked at my mom, I said, we're gonna be fine, Mom. Oh, how do you know that, son? Look at the ambulance, Mom. I'm always telling the kids they gotta work, everything they gotta do with some kind of pride or they're wasting their time. And then my name's right after that, come on. And everything went well. I walked out of that hospital in 8 days. I was supposed to be in a coma for 7. I woke up a day and a half later. The doctors didn't know how, nobody knew how, I didn't even know how. Somebody else did though. I walked out of that hospital and everything was going great. About 3.5 years in, I was tying my shoes on the bed, and And I was running late, so I was rushing. I stood up too fast, lost my vision, lost my hearing, passed out. Fell right against this dresser. The handle hit me right in between the ribs. Caused a pulmonary embolism the size of a nickel. Put me back on my deathbed, worse than ever before. Because this time, what felt like breathing through a straw before when my lungs were bad, now that straw felt like a coffee straw. And I had to look at myself in this mirror because the bed I was laying 15 feet away from the bathroom, from the toilet. And every time I went to go use the restroom, my oxygen went in the low 60s. My heart rate went into the high 150s. I was literally risking cardiac arrest just to go to the restroom. But I had to pass by this mirror, right in front of 2 double sinks. And I talk to myself in the mirror a lot, and I recommend that everybody else should too. Not in a crazy way, but it's a good way to check yourself. But I had to walk in front of this mirror, and I believe that laughing is good for you. I believe that laughing raises your vibration. And I believe that if you can't laugh at yourself, you have no business ever laughing at anybody else. So one morning I'm passing in front of this mirror and I look like this and I said, damn, come on, bro. It's almost Christmas and you're still wearing your Halloween costume. What I was looking at was gray skin, bones, veins. If my head would have got any bigger, I would think I was turning into an alien. It was weird looking at myself like that. But then I make a joke. And then I look in the mirror and I say, what's it gonna be today, Mark? You gonna be a warrior, fight for your life and fight for your daughter? Or you gonna punk out and go quit like a coward? What's it gonna be today, Mark? I guess we found out what it was. And we all get one day at a time. But my fight became one sunset and sunrise at a time, and eventually 1 hour at a time. Because on January 23rd at about 8 o'clock in the evening, I felt my body start floating away. I didn't know what was going on, and I literally held onto those covers, those sheets and the covers for dear life. White knuckle. And then a little while after it happened again. And my daughter was sitting on the end of the bed and she's, Grandma, something's wrong with my dad. He won't tell me what's wrong. So my mom went in there and she said, what's wrong, son? I don't know, Mom, I'm just really weak. I don't know. She said, well, let me give you some food. You know, that's what good moms do, right? Your kid's sick, you feed them, and then you pray for them, right? Well, I wasn't hungry, but I didn't want to argue either. So I said, okay. She brought me the food, I prayed, I put the spoon in the bowl, and I was literally right here. And the phone rang. I put the spoon back in the bowl, answer the phone, hello? Get to the hospital right now, we have your lungs. When was the last time you ate? You talk about God's perfect timing. Got to the hospital, told the doctor right away, hey doc, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting this sensation. Feels like my body's floating away. I don't know what's up. His eyes went like that. Like somebody put a couple of cue balls fresh off the pool table right in his head. He was like, that's your body floating away, Mark. You're in your last hour of life. Just keep fighting, harder than you ever have. See, what should have killed me within a couple of days, that pulmonary embolism the size of a nickel, I was getting close to battling with this thing for 6 months now. I was 120 pounds. I couldn't even walk anymore. I was in a wheelchair. So whenever you ask yourself, do I have anything left in the tank? Do I have any fight left for this thing? Trust me, you do. I am not special. I don't have anything that nobody in here has. We are all made the same. God makes us and puts part of Him in all of us. I am not special. What I have, you all have. The way I found a way to tap into it is to rid my life of all the things that don't belong there. Self-sabotage. Anybody in here operating self-sabotage, or am I the only one? Anybody ever served up your fear, doubts, big old buffet, all you can eat? Here, here, here. And then when they're sitting there like this, and they become monsters, you're like, why did that happen? We feed our fears and doubts and then become the why me guy. That don't work. Has anybody in here ever amplified the negatives? Anybody in here operating the tools of the weak, which are making excuses, blaming others, wallowing in self-pity and complaining? Thank you for being honest. Thank you, seriously, because looking at yourself introspectively is not the easiest thing to do. But when we want to create change in our world, in our communities, in our family, we have to realize that that change comes within from us right here, right now. That's where it has to start. Well, when we're thinking negative thoughts about ourselves, then we speak negative thoughts about ourselves, and then we move negatively, and then those become our habits, and then that becomes our character. I can't. What's your body gonna do? I guess I can, I'm done. Because the body, listen, anything we do, if you believe it here and here, that you can do it, you've already won half the battle. You know why? Because the last part of it, the other part of it, the actual physical act of it is not the hardest part, because that is just the body following orders and moving in obedience. So how could that be the hardest part? The body will always move in obedience. My mind's not gonna say I can't, and then my mouth's speaking, and then my body's like, nope, I got this. You guys, step aside. I got this. It's not always gonna follow. It's gonna do whatever you tell it to do. That's why when you say your knee hurts, your body's like, oh, you want your knee to hurt? Okay, we'll make it hurt. And then it hurts more. It's just like the universe. You say, I'm broke, I can't afford that. The universe says, oh, you want to be broke and you want me to show you more things you can't afford? Well, here. It's because your body and the universe do not know the difference between your emotion or you expressing a feeling and a command or a wish. So we have to be very careful about how we use those words. I heard somebody talking yesterday about a bridge. See, our words are like a rope. We can build a bridge with them, or we can hang ourselves with them, let's be honest. So we have to be very mindful of how we use our words. Many times we are our own worst enemy because of this thing right here and this thing right here. And we have to learn how to love ourselves enough to not be your own worst enemy. Listen, the only thing we're guaranteed in this life is that you're gonna get your butt kicked. That's it. Anybody else ever got any other guarantees besides that one? Because I want to know about it. I want to know who gave it to you, because we want to have a talk. But the only thing you're guaranteed in this life is you're going to get your butt kicked. So I'm going to ask you this question. Why on earth do we insist on getting in line to participate in our own butt kicking? Why? In a world that you're guaranteed to get it, it's going to give it to you. Boom. Why do we want to stand there in the mirror right after we brush our teeth and we're all ready and we're ready to go? And it's basically like you're doing this. Oh, you're ready? Oh, yeah, you look good. Okay, let's do this. Boom. Why are we beating ourselves up? Because our plate's full? Listen, if your plate is stacked high and it's full, don't look at how high it is in the middle. Look at the edges. If it's not spilling over the edges, then God didn't give you too much, because He knows how big your plate is and He knows how much to put on it. And if He's put that much on your plate, He has great confidence in you, so you better start having some confidence in yourself. The thing about fear and doubt is there's something that's mentioned 365 times in the Bible. Anybody know what it is? Fear not. 365 times? Wait a minute. That's how many days there are in a year. Wait a minute. You could literally go to your Bible and find a different passage every single day that tells us we don't have to be scared. We don't. Philippians 4:13 clearly tells us all. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, so why would I ever doubt myself? Thousands of people in your life will doubt you. Why on earth would you want to become one of them? Why? If you don't believe in yourself, who will? See, we walk around this life and we say, I believe in myself, I can do it. Then we turn around and operate in self-sabotage. How do those two things go together? They don't, and they never will. It's kind of like a peanut butter and tuna fish sandwich. Anybody ever have one of those? Anybody hungry? Nobody hungry for that one? Yeah, I didn't think so. Because those two things will never go together. Never. When I rid my life of all these things, I'd rather eat that sandwich than go back to the way I used to live. Because God gives us His light. And when we're doing this thing the wrong way, every day we cover that light up a little bit. It might be a jacket, it might be a shirt, it might be a towel, it might be a blanket, it might be something. Before you know, you're standing in the dark and you're like, how did I get here? All those things that are covering that light are the layers of things in our lives that we don't deal with. Our traumas that we stay hung up on, that we do not face head on. Because in life, interrupted hit you in many different ways. Adversity, financially, in your marital life, work life, demons, anything that you're faced with, do not run from it, because that thing that's chasing you is only getting in better shape. You're the one that's getting tired, because it's hard to run away from something when you're doing this. Oh my gosh, are they catching me? Oh no, but we get tired when we're running. Stop. Turn around, dig your 10 toes and down in the ground and say, what's up? Come on. You want this? You're going to have to fight for it. When I was first sick, the last 7 months before my transplant, every morning I wake up, I'd sit up, I'd look 90 degrees to my right, and there it was waiting for me. This big black form that went from the floor to the ceiling, just hovering there, just hanging out, just waiting. I had these eyes that were blacker than the form itself. And I would sit up and I would face it and I would say, what do you want? What are you doing here? Who told you you could hang around my house? You're a coward, you won't even fight me. You just want to hang around until I breathe my last and then walk in like you're tough. You're nothing. I'm not afraid of you. Get out of my house. I would scream at it. And then I'd go upstairs, I'd take a shower, get ready, drop my daughter off at high school and get to the hospital at the rehab gym and do my work. 2.5 hours of grinding, hard work, preparing myself for a 12-hour surgery where they would cut me in half, open me up, and remove my lungs with a hammer and chisel. That's ironic, because those are two of the tools that I used to build my career. The reason I tell you this is not to freak anybody out or for you guys to think, oh, this guy, oh. No, you all are. Whoa, we all are. Whoa, we are all powerful beyond measure. We got to stop messing that up and getting in the way of it. Because when we tune into the things that God put in us of Him, that's all the good stuff that's right here, your energy centers, your energy points. We have the ability to do great things in this life, but when we cover up our light, we don't see it. We don't believe it. Therefore, that's why we cannot do it. When I say can't do it, it really hurts me to say that. I detest those words. As you all know, I'm from New Mexico, so I'm New Mexican. I live in America. I am American. You see where this is going? I am not New Mexican. I am not American, and nobody can tell me that I am that. Let me tell you a little story. When I was sick, I knew I was sick. Something was wrong. I couldn't breathe again. I couldn't walk distance. And I said, here we go again. But I wasn't afraid this time. It's all right. Fought the same guy twice before, and I kicked his butt the second time even more than the first time. So what's up? Let's go. But I knew something was really up, and I knew that this fight might lead to my death. As a warrior, we understand that. We've accepted that, and we move on in our fights. That does not deter us in any way, shape, or form. But I'm standing in this room, exam room, with 3 of my friends that wear the white coats. Well, they were my friends before this meeting. After, not so much. I'll tell you why. They said, Mark, you have chronic rejection. There's nothing we could do for you. You have 2 months to live. You want us to call hospice. And I just took a pause, and then one of the doctors said, well, do you have anything to say? Oh, yeah, I have plenty to say. And then I came out with this. Which one of you did God call? Which one of you did God call? Because I didn't get that call. I didn't get that message, text, whatever. I didn't get it. Which one of you did God call? Yep. Come on, Mark. You can't be in denial. This is really happening. You're not going to get out of this. You're not going to beat this. I said, I'm not in denial. But if God did not call you, He did not call me. So therefore, yours is an opinion, albeit a professional opinion, but opinion nonetheless. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep fighting like a warrior, because that's what I do with Jesus and God as my leaders. And it looks like you all are ready to check out this fight because you're quitters. So do it, but do it fast to get out of my face, because I can't stand quitters. And I wasn't quite where I am now in my relationship with the Lord. So I said, unless you can catch, I'd get out of this room. And then I start taking everything apart on my oxygen tank. I shut down the regulator. I take the regulator off. I take the cannula off. I set it on the chair. And they didn't know what I was doing. And I'm unscrewing the tank from the base. And it wasn't until they heard metal sliding on metal that they realized they didn't know how to catch oxygen tanks about that tall. I was mad. I was so mad because they made me feel like my life was not worth fighting for. But what was worse is they were trying to steal my hope. Don't ever let anybody steal your hope. Don't ever let anybody talk you off your dream. That's your dream. You put work into that dream. But also remember, that dream ain't never gonna wake you up. It's never gonna chase you. You have to wake yourself up and chase that dream. And when you catch it, treat it like it owes you money. Make it pay up. I want mine. I ain't waiting no more. I put in my time. We have to remember how powerful we are. Each and every one of us in here has the equivalent hour to a bolt of lightning. Did you know that? Within your body, you have the equivalent of a bolt of lightning in your body. And we sit around and we walk around, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired. I'm so stressed. Don't do that. You're speaking curses on your life. Speak positivity. And remember that things like anger, frustration, stress, depression, all those things are choices. They are not an automatic step in the process when something occurs. Remember that. You're choosing that. And when I say that because of this. Look for the word stress in the Bible. You ever seen it? Once? No? What about that passage where God says, go into the mountains, my child, and be depressed for 40 days. Anybody seen that one? How about the one where he tells us it's okay to let anger destroy your life? Anyone seen that one? I haven't either. So if they're not in there, they're not of God. If they're not of God, they're of the enemy. So stop choosing things of the enemy and wondering why you feel bad. Because trust me when I tell you this, the person that's drinking the whiskey and snorting the cocaine is not wondering why they feel the way they do. They realize that's a consequence of their choice. That's the feeling they get from the choice they made. They're not walking around going, what's happening here? Why? They're not doing that, right? The other people that are choosing stress are walking around, like, you stress me out, I'm so stressed out, everything's stressed. Stop choosing it. Stop getting drunk on stress. Do something else. Because for everything, there's an opposite. I have this exercise that I do. I point towards the sun and I start with breathing. I do some circles, open myself up, but then the things that I don't want in me, with my breathing and physical movement, I release them. The thing that I do want, I bring it into me with a deep inhale. So with a very hard exhale, I say, weakness, strength, fear, courage. Whatever it is you don't want in your life, get it out, breathe it out, move it out. Whatever it is you do want in your life, breathe it in, move it in, make it part of you. Realize your words matter, and realize that if you're not backing those words with action, walking around handing bowls of alphabet soup out to people, here you go, just a bunch of letters thrown together, don't mean nothing, don't mind me, here you go, no order, no meaning, here you go. The only time your word matters is when you put action behind it, and know that your word is what you make it. This cracks me up because I did a talk in front of Southern California, some of Southern California's top leaders. They were all getting awards, and for some reason they asked a stonemason from Santa Fe to come and talk to all these leaders about leadership. God has a sense of humor, trust me. One of the things I said in this talk though was, you have to maintain your word as a bar of gold. Don't be out there passing it around like a shined up turd. And that's how I know God has a sense of humor, because, and I know y'all saw me out there, I was doing my little prayer before I came in, but I do that before I talk, and I ask God, give me your words, your messages, the ones that will help, because mine will have them running for the door. Some guy was telling me about his sprained ankle a couple months ago, and I said, what? You sprained your ankle? Yeah, man, it's really bad, it hurts. But it's your ankle, right?
Right?
Yeah, Mark, what are you talking about? So let me get this straight. They didn't have to put someone else's ankle on your leg so you could walk? You sprained your own ankle. And then in that moment, God said, come on, Mark, what is wrong with you? have some understanding. This very well might be the worst thing he's been through. Not everyone's been through what you've been through. So my words, we don't rely on those. Everyone will leave. Jim will be mad. I'm never calling you again. You ruined everything. So we don't do that. Because sometimes I look at it through I can't rely on my understanding because I'm looking at it through my eyes. You know, not everyone has been there, some have. But the hardest thing that I had to do really was not all this other stuff, not how to make my body work again, not how to function in a society where it was all new to me. I've been working for money since I was 7. I've always been a worker. Now I got in a period of my life where nobody wanted me, and I was finally healthy again. That led me into a very dark place. Yeah, I thought I had been to hell and back. God's gonna use me. I was trying to circumvent the process though, because I didn't understand that there's a period where you gotta heal, and that takes a lot of hard work. But before that healing can take place, you have to hold yourself accountable. That's important for everybody to remember. You can't do nothing, you can't go anywhere until the accountability happens. Even if you know, I was in a very toxic relationship, but I couldn't blame it on that person because ultimately it was up to me to leave. And that's where everything starts, is accountability. And you can't heal, you can't start healing until you hold yourself accountable for how you got there, why you got there. And then you can make a plan for how you move out there. But the healing has to take place. Because without the healing, there will be no growth. Without the growth, you cannot be elevated. Without the elevation, God cannot use you as one of his tools in his toolbox. I was like, God, I'm back from hell. Use me now. But it wasn't until I started writing my book that I realized, man, I need some help. I need healing. Many days I was writing and I had to stop because too many tears is hitting the page. And the reason I was handwriting, it was because my second transplant, I died on the table. I had to learn how to do a lot of things again. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to talk again because I couldn't enunciate a lot of things. I had to learn how to swallow, feed myself. I had to learn how to write. Capital A, capital B, small b. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Learn how to write again. And that's very humbling for a man who used these hands to create things that blew people's minds. But I could have sat there and said, nah, you know what? I'm done. I've had enough. But I had a why. Everybody should have a why. But I want to recommend this. Make sure there is a face attached to your why. That way when you close your eyes and you're on the verge of quitting and you think you've given it everything you have and there's nothing left and you can't do anymore, and you think you're going to close your eyes for that final time, you see that face. And I want you to picture yourself telling that face, I can't fight for you no more, man. It's too hard. That face was my daughter. I could not look at my daughter and say, honey, I can't fight for you anymore. It's too hard. So I kept fighting, and I kept fighting, and I kept fighting, and I'm still fighting. Because as warriors, that's what we do. If you got scars on your back, you means you're a coward. You're running from the fight. Warriors run to the fight, not from it. Warriors aren't afraid of that fight, whatever that fight may be. Now, my fight, I wasn't wielding a battle axe or sword. No, it was my example. It was how I was moving. It was my words. It was my smile. It was how I was doing my best to frame everything in a positive light. Those were my tools. Those were my weapons in battle. My heart was my biggest one. Everybody has battles in life. Nobody's gonna live this life and go about it unscathed. Nobody's not gonna get knocked down. And we all know this for a fact, that nobody's getting out of life alive. So having said that, I want everyone to realize the importance of ceasing the operation of self-sabotage. Starve your fears and doubts to the point that they die. And when they do die, bury them. My fears and doubts, let me tell you a little something about my fears and doubts. You know what they get? Nothing. They don't get leftovers, they don't get scraps, they don't get a crumb, they don't get a whiff, a sniff. If I'm talking about what I'm cooking, they don't even get to listen. They get to die. Because if I don't make sure that happens, they'll make sure that happens for me. They will start with my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations. Then eventually, me. But But guess what? They don't have what it takes because they're hungry. They're starving to death. They're all skinny over there like, oh, give me something to eat, please. Nope, you're gonna be dead soon, all the way. And we're going places that you can't go because not everyone's meant to go where God's ready to take you. Sometimes people fall off to the side. Sometimes you gotta get rid of things. In life, we're all guilty of this. I know we are. Sometimes we say, I'm so tired. Why are we so tired? Oh, I know why. Because I'm pulling around this dang U-Haul. Don't even have wheels. It's not running, no battery, and we're pulling it around. And this U-Haul's full of all the junk from our lives that don't serve us.
Yeah, it's real.
And we're pulling it around from decade, from house to house, and it don't serve us. And we're wondering why we're so tired. The solution is so easy. Just let go. Especially if you're going up a hill, just let go. I think he's going down the hill and you can keep going wherever you're going. A lot of us, our mental and spiritual garages are just cluttered with boxes. And God wants to give us some good new stuff, but there's nowhere to put it. Don't have a garage sale. Rent a dumpster. Chuck it all in there and get rid of it. Chuck it in the I don't care bucket. It's gone. Get rid of it. We don't need it anymore. Where we are going, we have to travel light. And we can't take the baggage from the past with us. That drags us down. And then that just is like tapping you on the shoulder. Go ahead and beat yourself up a little bit more because you didn't beat yourself up about the 80s enough. Come on. And then when we're done with that, we go to the 90s. Come on, come on, come on. There's greatness for all of us in this room. Some of us have got there. Some of us are still trying to get there. I'm going to give you a piece of advice. If you want to get there, let go of all the crap, find the peace, joy, and happiness within, and wherever you go, you'll be in peace, joy, and happiness because you take it with you. You don't have to seek it from outside sources. Inner peace is important. Don't waste your energy or your time. Those are two of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. I have time. I have energy. It's always there. It's not always there. Tomorrow is not always there. The past only serves to be grateful for and to learn from. That's it. The future, we don't even know if those days have our name on it. So quit worrying about them. We got today. Let's focus on today. Thank God for this gift and do the most we can with it. That's why they call it the present. You know why they call it the present? Big old gift, and the harder ones are the biggest gifts. Do you know that? The beautiful days where it's all sunny and you're on the beach and you're having a picnic or wherever you're in your place and your happy place, those aren't the best ones. The best ones are the hardest ones. Trust me on that. Those hardest days lead you to places you never knew you had the skills or the talents or the desires to even get to. Look at me. I'm dressing in suits now. I used to dress in Carhartts and steel toes. I like it though, it's fun. It was fun doing that too. And that's why I went back to what almost killed me. Because when you love something, you can't drop it. You can't lose it. You love yourself? Everybody in here?
Yeah.
If you don't, you need to start. Everybody in here taking care of themselves? Yeah. If you're not, you need to start. Now I want to take you guys to a little exercise real quick as we start winding down. I want everyone to just close your eyes. I'm going to guide you through something real quick. I want you to imagine being in a beautiful land and a beautiful property, 13,000 square feet, sitting on 65 acres in some of the most beautiful land that the Southwest has to offer. This beautiful place right at the foothills of the Ortiz Mountains, right outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico. A very special place to me, a place where I fought very hard to get back to put my footprints in that dirt. A place that built me into the man and the warrior that I am. I want you to imagine going for long hikes. I want you to imagine stargazing into the sky of 1,000,000 stars with no light pollution at all. I want you to imagine enjoying some of the finest cuisine that the area has to offer. And then I want you to think about listening to some powerful, transformational speakers. I want you to think about participating in meditations and yoga, breath work, sound baths, all of the things that could bring us closer to who we really are and lead us to our greatness. Now I want you to open your eyes. Does that sound like a pretty good place? A place where you can grow where you can expand, where you can be comfortable, where you can share. Christine's gonna pull up a QR code here on the screen for me. And I turned 55 years old last Monday. And there was a day that I hate to say this because of everything I just told you guys, but I really doubted that I would make it to that day. But I did. And there's a lot of reasons why I did. Because I put a lot of hard work into myself. I'm 8.5 years out of my second double lung transplant. And the average for a second double is less than 2 years. But never once in my life, not one day in my life have I ever woke up and said, I feel like being mediocre today. I think I'm average. I don't pay attention to averages because I am not average. Everything I do, I've always tried to be the best. I don't know if I made it to be the best, but I know that my efforts put me in that discussion, even when I was dying. I was trying to be the best dying guy there ever was. There was a point in my time, in my day, where I could breathe normally, but for about a half hour, from 11:30 to midnight, I could breathe like a normal person for some strange reason. So I would take advantage of that time to prepare myself and do exercises, body weight exercises, mostly abdominal exercises because they were about to rip me in half. But there were some nights where I did not want to do the exercises. And those were the nights where I got in my mirror and I said, you will do these exercises tonight because your weakness does not fly here. Either you're going to be ready for a double lung transplant or you're going to be the only one in the morgue with a six-pack. But make no mistake, you will do these exercises tonight. Sometimes in life it takes that kind of realness with ourselves to get unstuck, to move forward, because life does not have a reverse gear. When you get clobbered over the head by life interrupted, you stop. That stops you. Life don't have a reverse gear, so you can't turn around and go back to the day before and change anything. And until you deal with that trauma or that whatever occurred that put you in that place, you will never be able to move forward in power and positivity and reach the greatness that God has for you.
Come on.
Now, in this land that I described to you, this is a land where I was raised by my parents, and it's a very special land. And because I turned 55 with the help of my wife and Sherry Sotelo, who I rely on everything for, in conjunction, we're going to be putting together a retreat at a beautiful property right outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, where you will be taking part in all the things that I described. For the first 5 people to hit that and put their $500 deposit down, you will get 50% off of your retreat cost, which is $55.55. To celebrate my 55, we're going to give gifts to everybody, and the first 5 people to put their down payment will also get time to share with the group on stage. If anyone's ready to make that transformation, if anybody's ready to step into your warrior suit, hit that and make the move. And trust me when I tell you, when you button that final button on your warrior suit, you will never want to take it off ever again. I'm Mark Rodriguez from the Warrior Life Academy. Stay strong, stay blessed, stay in the light, and as always, stay in your fight. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who is responsible for putting this on. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome, buddy.
And thank you to all the wonderful speakers that spoke yesterday and will be speaking later on today. Thank you, guys. Thank you.